The Walmart supermarket chain will transfer all employees from the 30 stores that will be closed in the country to other units.
In some states, there was turmoil during the clearance sale.
Walmart has been the company with the highest revenue in the world for 8 consecutive years. The American retailer earned just over $500 billion in revenue in 2021. That figure exceeds the gross domestic product of numerous countries. If Walmart were a country, it would be in the 25th position in a ranking of almost 200. Walmart operates 10,500 stores globally and averages over $1 million in revenue per minute. But why? Why, even with so much economic power, did they not succeed here in our country? Today we are going to find out the reasons that led the largest company in the world to fail in the largest economy in Latin America, Brazil. To understand why Walmart failed in Brazil, we must first see how and why it succeeded in the United States. The empire that it is today, Walmart was born from the desire of its founder, Sam Walton, to copy the big retailers of the time who sold products at a discount. Before founding Walmart, he worked as an apprentice, earning $75 a month. After that, he served in the Army during World War II, and when it ended, he decided to own a franchise of a variety store. He bought this store with a $20,000 loan from his father-in-law, and it was a store that was on the verge of bankruptcy. Walton quickly made it profitable. After 3 years in business, he increased annual sales from $80,000 to $225,000 in 1948. The success made the property owner envious, and he refused to renew the lease with him. Well, Walton could have gotten a job and gone back to a normal life, but he decided to open another franchise store in another city. In that post-war era of peace, the United States was experiencing a time of prosperity, and because of that, consumerism was on the rise. Customers began buying out of desire rather than necessity. Sam Walton was always attentive to customer behavior and consumer behavior. In 1950, he identified a new retail trend.
And Sam Walton was willing to meet the new shopping needs in America. He kept his ear to the ground for new ways to keep prices down and customer traffic up. Around 1950, he heard about what was then a new idea in retail, self-service. Instead of having sales clerks fetch the merchandise, customers could pick and choose themselves.
He applied this model in his store, and it was a success. In just 1 year, sales tripled. So, making more money, he decided to expand, and in just over 10 years, he already owned 16 stores throughout the state of Arkansas. To make managing all of this easier, he decided to buy a plane to visit his stores and other competitors more quickly. And on one of those visits, he discovered a new idea that was the reason for the birth of Walmart.
On one of his trips east to check out the competition, Sam was intrigued by another new idea called discounting, buying items directly from manufacturers and displaying them in large quantities. Sam's instinct told him that even lower prices could make him even more money.
But when he tried to convince people that large retailers were using a discount strategy to draw crowds into their stores, Sam Walton realized he wouldn't be able to apply this model in his own stores because the franchising executives rejected his proposal to sell with lower margins. In 1962, Walton decided to open his own store on his own terms. Thus, Walmart was born, the result of the desire to sell with a lower profit margin but in greater quantity. Walmart's rapid growth saw 24 stores and over $12 million in sales within 5 years. Walton was a visionary, and instead of competing in urban areas where the big retailers of the time were already established, he focused on opening stores in rural areas and small towns that weren't saturated. In 1980, Walmart had just made its first billion. In that decade, Sam Walton also introduced new store formats like Sam's Club, focusing on wholesale and membership clubs, and the supercenters, hypermarkets that sell everything from a tomato to a pair of jeans, combining all the stores. With its efficiency, Walmart had already gained even more purchasing power over its suppliers. This was also largely due to its presence, already practically nationwide, with 1,958 stores spread across the United States in 1993. Not having your product in a chain like this was, at the very least, a lack of intelligence. But to have your product in Walmart stores, you, as a supplier, were forced to sell at increasingly lower costs. If you couldn't do it, they would simply buy from another supplier, even if it was an international one. So, with this economy of scale and bargaining power, Walmart grew like no other competitor. But it was also criticized for anti-competitive practices. But that's a topic for another video. Everyday low price, which literally means to low price every day, is the pillar of the strategy that made Walmart become an empire in the United States. Americans were taught to shop at Walmart and became loyal due to its low prices and the convenience of buying everything in one place. Another key to Walmart's success is continuously analyzing competitors. Its founder checked everything others were doing. Strategies that worked, he copied. Strategies that failed, he avoided. Walmart became a clear success and by 1990 was the largest retailer in the United States. In 1996, they launched their operations here in the country of soccer. Brazil's economy was favorable, having just emerged from hyperinflation that was stabilized by the Real Plan in 1994. Growing at a slow pace, they only really took off here 10 years after their arrival. In 2004, they acquired Bompreço and became the Northeast leader in Brazil. In 2005, they bought 140 Sonai stores under 4 brands, Big, National, Mercatorama, and Max Atacado, becoming the leader in the South. In 2013, Walmart peaked with 558 stores across Brazil. This rapid growth in the second decade strained Walmart's logistics network, one of its strongest assets in the United States. The retailer that became a reference and was copied by many ended up failing in this aspect here in our country, opening stores in poorly located areas. In addition, Walmart didn't know how to take advantage of the other brands it acquired. Integrating the logistics operation systems and administration of these acquired units took a long time. They used several different management systems across their various brands. Inefficiency had set in. Another issue is that despite this growth, Walmart struggled to connect with local suppliers and the Brazilian consumer. They tried to translate the strategy that worked in the American market. But here, our shopping culture is completely different. While the everyday low prices strategy worked perfectly in the United States, retail experts in Brazil believe that here people are more attracted to limited and specific promotions.
Brazilian consumers are very attracted to promotional sales, but promotional sales are only effective in Brazil if they are punctual. Therefore, since the prices were low every day, Brazilians didn't actually perceive value in the promotion.
In 2016, the chain saw a sharp decline in stores. Reuters reported Walmart had faced operational losses in Brazil for 7 years and struggled to keep its balance sheet positive. Labor lawsuits, tax errors, and the post-2016 recession after Dilma's impeachment were key factors in the chain's decline here. Another fatal strategic mistake that led to Walmart's downfall was the failure to understand the importance of wholesale clubs. The most famous ones, Atacadão and Açaí, were key pieces for Carrefour and Grupo Pão de Açúcar to reach the top of the largest retailers here in Brazil. This type of store, which sells both wholesale to small business owners and retail to families looking for better prices, has a competitive advantage over hypermarkets. Its low operating cost. When Walmart realized it, it was already too late, as its Max Atacado brand, operating in this model, had only 44 stores in the chain. Atacadão from Carrefour had a presence with 123 stores, and Açaí from Grupo Pão de Açúcar had 95 stores. To give you an idea of the importance of wholesale clubs, Atacadão, for example, accounted for 60% of all Carrefour's revenue in 2016. Since 2008, wholesale clubs have averaged 22% annual growth, twice the food retail sector's rate. After years of heavy investment, I'm still facing losses. Walmart announced that it was selling 80% of its stake to a private equity fund in 2018 called Advent International. After a year of the purchase, Walmart was restructured and the corporate name was changed to Grupo Big. And about 100 stores were renamed to Big and Big Bom Preço. But the final outcome for Walmart here in Brazil was the sale of Grupo Big, formerly Walmart, to Carrefour for 7 billion reais. Last year, 70% was paid in cash and the other 30% through the issuance of shares. Carrefour will convert all Max Atacado stores to the Atacadão brand and some of the Big and Big Bom Preço stores to Atacadão or Sam's Club. The remaining stores will be converted to the classic Carrefour hypermarket brand. So, the only presence Walmart currently has in our country is through royalties from licensing its Sam's Club brand. And after the sale to Carrefour is completed, together with the Advent Fund, it will have only 5.6% ownership. Walmart's failure in Brazil is part of the company's struggle to establish itself internationally. Ambitious international expansion plans were hindered by failures. In 2006, it abandoned its businesses in Germany and South Korea. 7 years later, it closed a joint venture in India. The world's largest retailer, despite being in 24 countries, gets most of its income from the American market, which accounts for 60% of its revenue. After 23 years in Brazil and 2 major acquisitions in 2004 and 2005, they became the country's 3rd largest retailer, a period of rapid expansion that stagnated in 2013. However, the business world follows a law. It's no use being big, being the biggest, if you're not profitable. In Brazil's competitive market, the Pão de Açúcar and Carrefour groups understood local shopping culture well. Walmart was bound to lose ground because they were slow or unwilling to adapt to this scenario.